Everybody, welcome back. It's been a while since we did the last show, and I wanted to kind of go over some things. We're not going to chit chat about a lot of it, but we will go over a couple of things. And obviously, you see Sue Qualley here is my guest again, and because she's highly opinionated, I've got Axel here, and he's driving me. Sit down, dude.
Sit down.
God.
Just behave. Stay over here with Aunt Sue.
So I wanted to go, the story's kind of been dry lately and everything and quiet, but on Michelle Fiore, so her sentencing date so far is April 14th, which is next week. So, keep an eye out for that. We'll probably talk about that once there's, facts happening. Sorry.
Anyways,
yeah. Two subjects: the tigers and the horses. Not the wild horses, but the horse situation with the vet. I just want to say, and this is my opinion, I just want to say, everybody talking shit online about these two stories are doing nothing but hurting these people and the animals and stuff. If you don't know the facts, just shut up. Just be quiet. If you want to chit chat, at a salon or that kind of thing, that's one thing, but don't spread gossip. And this is why our town sucks, is this whole gossip thing. So let's see about the vet. Hopefully the vet's okay. Let's see about, it looks like the tigers are doing phenomenal in Arkansas. So, just if you're not positive, or, people's families are still on Facebook. So they shouldn't be bombarded by your ignorant opinions and stuff. If you don't know about horses, shut up. I haven't chimed in. I don't know about horses. So I just wanted to say that. Be a good neighbor. Have good fences. Quit doing this crap, But so I think that's it. I'm going to snit if you can't tell. I'm so tired of this and people stopping me and talking to me about this stuff. So anyway, we do have a situation now that is about our land. And Sue wants to talk about that for sure.
Yes, I do.
And I don't know if you know about these NRSs and these ordinances and all this stuff, but this is something you need to listen to.
So first of all, I'm going to bring up the fact that we have a lot of parcels in Pahrump that are actually owned by people who pay taxes on them.
Property taxes.
To have them to be used for something in their family. But our planning department and county commissioners don't allow that. So there's a lot that goes into it. And there's just a couple points that I want to
go over.
Yeah, to hit upon, really. And there's thousands of them. There's thousands of small vacant lots in Pahrump that are zoned village residential. So that prohibits the development without access to centralized water and sewer, despite no clear pathway for it, or even those when the utilities arrive. So they have deemed these lots too small to qualify for a private well or a septic system, effectively making them unusable, especially by their rightful owners. So let's talk about that first.
Well, I have a question. So as we're talking about, what did you say, V residential?
They are called village residential.
So there's plenty of people that come into the commissioners' meetings and ask to change that so that they can build and they can live on the property and stuff like that. Is that something that they can do?
Well, according to the planning department, that goes into this next statement, that the lots are too small to qualify for a private well or septic.
Got it.
So first of all, who are they to say that my land does not qualify for a private well or a septic?
What, is it smaller than an acre?
Yes, these will be smaller than an acre.
Okay, got you.
But to me, if I have enough money to have somebody dig a well and a septic system, because that is probably $30,000 between the both of them,
Right.
then I'm pretty sure that I'm going to take care of that land as if it was my own. But these people are paying taxes on this land, and our people are saying, too bad, you can't live there. So I think that that's something that needs to be looked at. Now, I want to say...
What do you want, though? Do you want it to change? You want to change the ordinance?
I want to change, and I want to add, as I'm getting older, because I am, I sometimes I look at my house and I think my 3-bedroom, 2-bath house on 1.25 acres is just getting to be way too much for me. Mm-hmm. So if I were to pack up my trailer and buy a smaller piece of property, I would be more comfortable in that trailer on a smaller piece of property than struggling to try to keep up with this huge 1.25 acres. But here in Pahrump, you can't do that. Well, the way that the tide is shifting, it's shifting towards smaller homes, tiny homes, yeah. Lots of people living in their trailers. Mm-hmm. And I just think that Pahrump needs to step up to the plate and realize that this is where the economy is going. So I think that we need to reevaluate this whole situation. But I will also say that there has to be regulations on it. You can't just say you can put a trailer there and we don't care what you do, because we do.
Right.
You know, there would be regulations that, you know, that you can't park 100 vehicles on that lot. You know, I mean, there's things that need to be incorporated in that. But what I'm saying is, with the economy and the way that the tide is turning, we need to be abreast of that, and we need to reevaluate sometimes what our laws and our, I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for. Ordinances mm-hmm. are. And they need to be evaluated with the sign of the times. So,
well, I do know this. I'll make this statement. So if they're smaller than 1 acre, then I understand that. I understand not doing this kind of stuff, because people will put, like, let's say you have 1 acre, right? And you want 4 tiny homes on your property and stuff. Well, it's not rural. Rural is land.
Right.
So I think that's why they're coming up with that. However, there should be like parts of towns and stuff that you can actually do that, making it smaller, mm-hmm. having your well, you know, or tapping into city water, mm-hmm. whatever you want to do.
And that I totally understand. I get exactly what you're saying.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, these lots have already been sold to people.
I know. And
under 1 acre.
And they weren't told.
They were not told that they cannot do anything with them.
Yes, and that's big.
Mm-hmm. That's huge.
One. Yeah, because that's a lot of money.
But those are the properties that I'm talking about. You also have properties that are sold out there that are landlocked. Do people know what landlocked means?
No, I don't.
Landlocked means there's no access. You have one in the middle and 4 properties around you.
Oh.
Those are landlocked. And they're all over the place up here. And people don't realize it when they buy them. Why? Because they're not told.
Yeah.
I'm not saying all real estate people aren't forthcoming, but
they're not.
Evidently, a lot of them aren't, because they sell them all day long.
And they say they don't have to disclose it.
Yep.
And because I'm like, I know where I came from, you had to disclose, you know, if there was a solar farm or this and that.
Right.
Yeah, you had to do that. Or somebody was killed in your home.
But I can see that point where what you're saying, that there can't be segregation. There has to be. If there's a lot, you can't just arbitrarily put 4 small houses on your lot.
Right.
But again, if you have like an acre and a quarter, for instance, my place,
Mm-hmm.
if I wanted to build a tiny home in the back for my father,
Yeah.
that should be something that I should be able to do. As long as I have the resources to make it correct
Yep.
with a sewer, with electric, with whatever it needs to be sustainable housing, I feel that that should be an option. I don't feel like our planning department or our county commissioners should be able to tell me my dad can't live on my property
Mm-hmm.
when I have the means to do it and make it correct.
Right.
So I think that we have a lot to
Be
think about
desired, yeah.
and look at, and
You need a good commissioner that knows the NRSs that and work with the DA and stuff if you want to
yes,
change it. That's how it gets done.
which would be D-Mounts 2026.
Gotcha. Yeah, so you just need a good commissioner to do that.
Yes.
So it's going to be very interesting, especially because Wagner is now the county manager instead of planning. But I have a feeling that he's still involved with planning.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, was that his husband?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's Boskovich's
I thought
husband.
so. Yeah. Okay, well, we won't go there. But
Yeah, no.
yeah.
Conflict of interest.
Right.
All over the place here.
Let's look that up.
Yeah. So no, I agree. I mean, I understand why people are upset. I understand
Yes.
that it was not disclosed. I appreciate your property taxes because that helps the library. So that's how Craven gets paid. But yeah, I understand it. It's frustrating
It's
because
very
you're just
frustrating.
going like this the whole
And then
time.
you also have people that want to live in their fifth wheel or their trailer while they're building something.
Mhm. Yep.
And that's not even allowed. You can only stay there for certain, I think it's 3 months in your trailer on your own land that you own.
Which is ridiculous.
Well, if you're building a home, that's going to take way longer than 3 months. So
yeah.
anyways, that there's just a lot I think that needs to be looked at. That's just common sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and it needs to, like I said, the ordinances, everything that we do here that have laws and NRSs and everything, it needs to benefit the residents.
Yes, absolutely.
Period.
Yep.
So how do we negotiate that? But it can't be negotiated.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so. Yes.
You know, I would be pissed if I bought some
Yes.
land and I can't do what I want with that land.
Mm-hmm.
I would be pissed if my realtor didn't tell me that, you know?
Yeah.
So I can imagine the anger right now.
Yeah.
Which,
And there's plenty of communities that you can drive through,
Mhm.
you know, that they have their trailers and stuff that are fixed up just as cute as little
Yeah.
homes, you
Yeah.
know? So
That's
there
true.
there just isn't any reason for it,
Right.
you know, in my book anyway. So we'll revisit that once we get some sensible county commissioners in there.
Yeah, I hope
Yeah,
so.
I hope
Yep.
so.
Go.
So I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, no, it's a good subject, and I'm sure a lot
Yeah.
of people can.
Anybody that wants to know any more about it, there's actually a page that was developed on Facebook
Yeah, what's that called?
that is called, let me find it. I do have it here somewhere. Dun, dun. It is called Pahrump Vacant Landowners Solutions and Opportunities. So hop on that page.
What's with all the long names? This is ridiculous, man. Because then you forget what half of the words. But yeah, no, that's a good one. And if you're in this situation or know somebody in that situation, please send them this podcast because Sue knows a lot about this stuff. And it is. Get on the Facebook page and start chiming in.
Yep.
If you're a landowner going through this, not if you don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Right? So, yeah, so that's a good one. So
Great.
hopefully this is helping you in one way or another.
Thanks, Dee.
Yeah, you're welcome. I had a thing with Ian Bain sends out lots of podcasts and stuff, and a lot of his ideas he has no idea what he's doing. I'm just going to say it that way. So he has an agenda item coming up on Tuesday, and it's about hiring security officers for our police officers. Okay. Okay, good idea overall, right? Okay. So he wants these people to deal with the homeless camps and the homeless people.
Security officers.
Security officers.
Okay.
So here's my issue with that. And I know what I'm talking about. My husband deals with homeless every day in downtown Vegas. So you cannot send a security officer out that has no gun. Okay, homeless people are very dangerous. They'll shank you, they'll steal from you, they'll beat you up, they'll do, they have diseases, they have all this stuff going on. So to send out and hire somebody, let's say a 50-year-old man, right? Even 60-year-old
Well, first of all, not only with a gun, but uneducated on how to deal with them.
Deal with them, right? They're not going to get trained,
right?
But he said there were, I think, Category 2 police officers. Well, without post, you can't carry a gun. So what are they going to do? What are they going to do with this? These violent people, and there's drug dealings going on, and what have you. So, I want to hear this. I want to hear his agenda item on Tuesday, because it makes no sense to me, and I want to know what McGill has to say about it. So
will he be there?
I don't know. So I don't know if he's on the agenda or not, but I still want to hear what he has to say.
Okay.
Yeah, but
well, let's hear him out and see.
Yeah, so I want to
see what it's about.
See, I guess Ian went out and took pictures and video of the camps behind Walmart. So and went like at 3 different times during the day, including the nighttime. So so my thing is that you've got to keep looking through what works here and what doesn't work here, and not put residents in danger to do that, to give them a job, right? And what are they going to pay them? $10 an hour to get shanked? Just like, I don't know. That scares
that's something that really needs to be.
Yeah. And if they do get post certified, let's just say they get hired and they get post certified, might as well be a sheriff.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, it's a great idea, I think, sort of, but what are they going to do?
Right.
Are they going to go out and say, you can't get out? You can't be here. Where are they going to go?
Well, Ian said that they can arrest. Okay.
Well, so they get 3 hots and a cot for the night.
Right.
Then we pay for them to be in jail.
Right.
And then they come back and they're in the same position that they are. Here's what I think. I think the homeless people need to be moved to Vegas.
Yes.
And here's why I say that.
In California.
I don't say it because we don't, because we're mean people and we don't want them here. That is one reason. But the biggest reason is because we don't have services for them.
Right. Right.
We do not have mental health people that will deal with them. That's what they need. A lot of them need medication, which they don't have. Because why? Because we don't have services here for them.
Right.
We do have food banks, but 90% of the homeless people can't get to the food banks because they don't drive.
Right.
So all of these services are there and readily available for people in Las Vegas, but not here. I've seen there's so many of them that are hurt that don't have medical services to help them. So there's a lot that's going into this homeless thing, but nobody's thinking about them,
Or us.
Obviously nobody's thinking about us, but certainly no one's thinking about them.
Right.
Because if they were, then they would be saying, this is probably not the place for you because we don't have anything to help you with here.
Right. Right.
True
story.
So again, people are just thinking about themselves, and wanting to, well, I'm not even going to go off in that tangent, but
Well, I get that Ian doesn't want a homeless camp or a homeless shelter, all that stuff. I mean, who does? I don't.
yeah, no, it doesn't. Again,
Mm-hmm.
you can build the $22.2 million facility that you want to build,
Right.
but you don't have the facilities.
Right. Right.
So if you don't
And
have
we don't have the money.
right? I don't even know if that's a whole nother story
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they want to put us in debt with that, which we'll be in debt forever.
We're already in debt.
I know.
We're broke.
Well, we can't be broke.
We are broke. Yeah, we are broke. But
but yeah. So I think that, you know,
a lot of problems with this idea, in my view.
Yeah.
And
well, there's not. I mean, I think it's a great solution, but in order for it to be a working solution, you have to have what's going to happen to them. So, I mean, you could tell them to move all day long. What are you going to do? Follow them around every time they erect their tent?
Right. It's true.
I mean, it's just the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It's
you know,
very
okay,
true.
so we got them out behind Walmart, so now they're over at the park.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's get them out of the park. You know, I mean, it's
Now they're
just
going
a
back to
fishbowl.
Walmart.
You know, it's just a fishbowl. So
Yeah.
before you come up with a solution like that, you need to have a solution for them.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
No,
I mean,
it has to be safe for the people.
You can't put the cart before the horse.
That's right. That's right.
The horse has to be before the cart, or it doesn't work.
But like you said, if they arrest them, then they're in our system, and we're still, as taxpayers, paying for it.
And we pay for them.
Yeah,
they like it in there.
We're tired. We're
Well,
tired of it. Yeah, if you get arrested, you get a meal. You have a bathroom.
Well, if you go in on a Friday, you got 3 days before
right.
you get to see a judge, so you're good.
That's right.
You get showers, you get medical attention. You can even get your teeth fixed if you go on the right day.
Yeah, right. There you go.
You know, so yeah,
it's
yeah.
Am I heartless? Probably. Whatever. I don't care. I believe in helping people that want to be helped. And a lot of these homeless people don't want to be helped.
No, they don't.
Yeah. And, I agree with Donna Cox on that. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's just something to think about, because it's dangerous dealing with homeless. I do know that my husband's former law enforcement,
Mm-hmm.
He does it now. So,
yeah,
I know I was worried about the library staff, because we had a lot of homeless hanging out in the entrance corridor thing. And, we have little kids going in and out and stuff, and I'm like, I don't like this at all.
Mm-hmm.
So it got cleaned up once we put those magical cameras up.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, I'm on video,
yeah.
But a lot of it's cleaned up, right, Craven? Yeah. So, it's going to be interesting. So if you're interested in this subject, please go to the meeting, watch it online, do what you have to do.
Yep. This Tuesday,
10 a.m. and see what Ian has in store for us. I didn't look at the backup or anything like that, so you can look at the backup before you go or before you view it. But yeah, that really bothered me, what he said. The other thing too, the next one was the community center. That's what we were
again.
I
talk say
about. Yeah, the community center. What a debacle that is.
Again, they're just not thinking.
Well, when we had the town board, I think the price was about $350,000 for the community center at that time, and they're like, "No way!"
Wasn't the VEA supposed to do something about that?
Yeah.
I just thought I'd mention that because
$5 million.
I seem to remember, along with those checks that we got,
yeah,
they were going to build us a community center.
That's right.
What happened to that?
Right.
VEA.
Right. Well, and then people need to understand, oh, well, you as a commissioner, you need to, fix the VA, blah, 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 blah. There's no jurisdiction. VA's on their own.
Yeah.
Just like the school board, on their own. Just like the library board, we're on our own,
Mm-hmm.
So you need to understand that there are jurisdiction issues with anything like that. So how can you fix that? You can have meetings, you can talk to people, you can talk to the right people, and see how that goes. But the community center, I have a real problem. And this woman, Marianne, she puts out a lot of stuff. which is great. She's full of information. But I have a problem having the coalition run it. And what do you want? You want yoga, you want this, you want that, and here we go. As we see in Doge, is all these nonprofits ripping the money off and not helping what they're supposed to be helping.
And do you think there's corruption in Nye County?
Oh my God.
No,
oh my God,
there can't be.
But people protect those people. And
well, I think before we even think about anything like that, we need to figure out where the money's coming from for the community center, because we don't have it.
It's somebody else's pocket. I think it's $22 million.
It's $22.2 million, I believe it is, if I'm not mistaken.
And then they just paid over $500,000 for the plans.
Yeah, that's just the plans.
Freaking plans. Are you kidding me?
That's only number one, though. Yeah. There's several more stages to that.
Well, and I've talked to other past commissioners and stuff, and they're like, no, you go and talk to this person, you go and do this, to cut costs down and stuff like that. That's how you do it. And I go, what about the coalition? Get rid of the coalition. Get rid of, I think there's a couple of different, say no to abuse, maybe. Is that Kathy McKenna? But they have all of these perks from the commissioners that shouldn't be doing. They shouldn't be having offices, and I know they only pay $1 a year, but come on, they still shouldn't be having offices there.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't go there because I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't looked into it. I don't know.
And we've been busy, so
yes, we have.
I haven't.
We have been busy.
So speaking of that, excuse me. So the Nye County Republican Central Committee, Leo renamed it, but there's an election tomorrow.
Yep. And guess who's running?
Yep.
Vice chairman.
Yep. I was asked to run for vice chair.
Along with Bill Carnes. For chair.
Yeah. And I only did it because I trust Bill. Number one, I do. I trust Bill. I was never wanted to be anything like that on the board of this group at all. I'm like, only for you, Bill.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do have, I'm going to stump for myself since, the other side got to stump for them. Right. So, yes, I am a Nye County activist. I fought Recall Sisolak. I did the mandates, was against the mandates for masks and vaccinations. What else did I do? I'm a trustee on the library board. I have been for years. And I'm very good at rounding people up and getting them to where they need to be.
Well, you're good at that. You're good at knowing where the money is going. You're good at watching things that are happening in the community.
Yep.
You've got a whole well-rounded balance about you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very honest. I'm very humble. But I fought solar farms. It's still fighting. We're still waiting for Trump's administration to make the decision. So, we're doing it. I'm doing it. That's for sure. But I do want to help Bill get in there. The reason is everyone that I know of that's a Republican, and I've asked them to come to the meetings, they refuse to show up because Leo Blendo is the chair. And I understand. I get it. Leo's made a lot of enemies and stuff, but, people don't like Bill too, so we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Right.
But it's a good thing to come together. That's what I want. I want all the Republicans to come back. I want the young Republicans group to come back. I want the elected officials won't even show up except Bruce Jabor.
Yeah.
Nobody's there.
Well, no.
So
out of all the Republicans in all of Nye County, we'll just go with Pahrump.
Yeah.
There's maybe 15 people at the Republican meetings, and you know what, people? That is really sad.
It is very sad. It used to be standing room only. Yeah.
But there's a reason for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reason is we need to fix it.
Right. So,
the party needs to be fixed.
Leo is good at fundraising. he's
Oh, he can sell hats like crazy.
oh he can't sell hats. Yes, and t-shirts and keychains.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's so that I mean that's his thing. That's fine.
Yeah, he does good.
Yeah, but it's just there's so many problems and issues with him being chair. You need to understand. I see a lot of people when he was announced as chairman when he won the election by one vote. By the way, by one vote, that people were just livid.
Yeah.
And I go, well, be livid at the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just put your 2 cents in. As a Republican, you should be able to do that.
They don't want to go anymore.
No, they don't.
They don't.
So
No.
I would like to see everybody come back.
I'd like to see the unity.
Yes.
Because it's a super fun party. It's a super neat organization to be involved in.
Yeah, lots of
There's
fun
a
stuff.
lot of charity work. And
yes.
It's super fun, raising money for the Republican Party. And believe me, 2028 is our next election, correct?
Yep.
We are going to need it.
Yep. So, and everybody, you make new friends, you get involved, you feel important, so it's a big deal. Tomorrow's a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
So,
so we'll hope for the best.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, I wanted to say, please vote for Bill and myself tomorrow. If you are eligible to vote, you have to be a member.
Perfect.
Burping on you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You're my boy. Yes,
but
you are.
But we'll be coming back with more opinionated subjects. And
this was just a short little quip today.
Yeah.
But let us get through the county commissioner meetings and the voting tomorrow, and then we'll have some great topics to talk about on the next D-Mounts podcast.
And just so you know, if you're voting for commissioners or chairmans or whatever you need to do, make sure that their plan is actually something that can be worked through, because nobody on that commission wants anything to do with what Ian's doing. Well, you know what I mean? You have to have the votes in order to change the situation.
Yes.
So, thank you. So just, you need to understand how it all works, and being a part of this Republican committee, you learn that kind of stuff. So, not dodging on Democrats or all that stuff. Just, I don't know anything about that, but I do know about the NCRCC. So, if you would support it, and if you have any ideas for me to talk about on the podcast, please say so.
Yeah.
That's all.
We'd be glad to research and talk about the next thing on the next podcast that you guys want to hear about.
Right. I want you to absolutely join the conversation. Till next time.